years. And it's an operation that closely to the history of the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. CHOP has been instrumental in developing the surgical techniques for this very complex operation. Recently, however, there have been additional advancements that I think has allowed for even better care of children with complex neonatal problems, such as being a conjoined twin. This particular set of twins was delivered in the Garbo Special Delivery Unit, which is a special unit, special OB unit for mothers carrying fetuses with significant anomalies. And patients were delivered there and then received their ongoing therapy. The Garbo Special Delivery Unit is one example of highly specialized fetal and neonatal care that's available at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. In a few minutes, you will be hearing from Dr. Scott Adzik, who is the Surgeon-in-Chief of the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, and is really one of the developers of the field of fetal surgery. The Garbo Special Delivery Unit is really something that he developed over many, many years, and with the support of many in the hospital, developed into really a world-class program. After that, you'll hear a little bit more about the actual surgical technique, which is quite remarkable. Allison and Amelia were born joined at the lower chest and abdomen and had to go through very complex surgery. And today you'll see the amazing results. So what you will hear today is truly a remarkable journey, an amazing tale of science and medicine. And we'll also have the opportunity to see just a remarkable family and their children. So I'd like to, again, welcome you all here today and to introduce Dr. Scott Adzik, who is the Surgeon-in-Chief of the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. Have a good day. Thank you.
Well, we have quite a crowd here. Conjoined twins have fascinated us for hundreds of years. During the past 45 years, surgeons at CHOP have separated 21 conjoined twins, which is by far the largest clinical experience in the Western Hemisphere. As Steve Altshuler mentioned, with improvements in prenatal diagnosis, we have evaluated 24 sets of conjoined twins during the past decade in our Center for Fetal Diagnosis and Treatment. We've learned from this experience that some cases of prenatally diagnosed conjoined twins have complex conjoined hearts, and with current technology cannot be saved. But prenatal diagnosis allows prenatal diagnosis, has a lot to offer. It allows appropriate counseling of parents so that the family can make informed decisions on how to proceed with the pregnancy. It permits active management of the pregnancy in our unique Garbo's Family Special Delivery Unit to minimize maternal complications, and in select cases, like for the Tucker family, precisely planned and carefully orchestrated multidisciplinary care before, during, and after birth can lead to 2 healthy babies after separation. I have a story to share with you which I hope will illustrate why CHOP is such a special place. The first successful separation of conjoined twins at CHOP occurred in 1957 with a team led by C. Everett Koop, who many of you have heard of. He was then the Surgeon-in-Chief and later became the famous Surgeon General of the United States of America. Dr. Koop, who was referred to by his friends and colleagues as Chick Koop, had a first assistant during the first conjoined twin surgery named Louise Schnaufer, who at that time was the pediatric surgical fellow trainee. After joining the CHOP faculty, Dr. Schnaufer developed a keen interest in surgical management of conjoined twins, and she participated in most, if not all, of the conjoined twin separation during the ensuing 4 decades. I remember, for instance, in the year 2000, I led a team that separated conjoined twins fused at the chest and the abdomen, just like the Tucker twins. These twins came to CHOP from Poland, which shows our international reach. I asked Louise Schnaufer to assist me. She was delighted to do so. With her experience, she was great help. With her enthusiasm and expertise, it really didn't matter that she was 75 years old. The day after the separation surgery, Louise sent me an email that I'd like to read to you, despite me being a little embarrassed about the message. It is dated November 4th, 2000. Dear Scott, this is from Louise. Thank you for a great time in the OR yesterday. It was a most exciting separation and such fun. You were a terrific surgeon. You remind me of Chick Coop. Decisive and fast. Signed, Louise. My response was, Louise, you make me smile. Thanks for your help and your wise counsel. The other assistant for that twin separation in 2000 was a pediatric surgical fellow trainee named Holly Hedrick. And now here we are, 12 years later, and Dr. Hedrick has led a wonderful team with beautiful results. That's the way it works at CHOP. We teach each succeeding generation, in this case from Coop to Schnaufer to Hedrick, and each generation does it better. This important passing of the torch philosophy at CHOP is true for all the medical and surgical specialties, for nursing, for respiratory therapy, and so forth, true for all the participants on this fantastic team, and true throughout this most special children's hospital. Finally, as with most things in life, success in the management of conjoined twins depends on a team effort and layers and layers and layers and layers of expertise that required 155 years to develop. The crucial ingredient, in my opinion, is the passion for excellence that characterizes work at CHOP. Winston Churchill said, we make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. Holly, I wish that the late Dr. Louise Schnaufer were here today. You two have a special link as pioneering surgeons and as women, but in many ways, she is here by what she gave. I say, Dr. Hedrick, you are a terrific surgeon, and you remind me of Louise Schnaufer. Calm, caring, collegial, and decisive and fast. Dr. Hedrick.
It's hard to follow that. Dr. Schnaufer is a beloved surgeon that worked here for over 40 years, and we all loved her and we wanted to be just like her. So she used to bring the Philadelphia Inquirer to the OR every morning of her OR. So we all stayed well informed. But that was a special day back in 2000, and Dr. Adzik actually moved the day of the separation so that I could take my boards. So Dr. Ashlar so eloquently stated that this family has made a journey. And the journey for the Tucker family, it started over a year ago. I think that Shelly recounts it very well. Shelly and Greg, we met them for their initial fetal evaluation. Shelly went through a series of extensive imaging studies. The ultrasound took how many hours, Shelly? 4 hours. 4 hours to determine the girl's anatomy, and then to really figure out if it was possible to do this feat. Shelly and Greg then made the extraordinary commitment to move their young family to Philadelphia. And in early 2011, we got to know them really, really, really well. On March 1, after months of preparation by our special delivery maternal fetal medicine specialist and obstetricians, the girls were born in the Garbo Special Delivery Unit. The neonatal resuscitation team performed the initial stabilizations, and the girls were transitioned to the neonatal intensive care unit. Amelia and Allison had several milestones in those first conjoined months. Their parents held them together. In fact, they did nearly everything together. It was very, very important for them to be able to thrive and to grow more than just in weight, but to grow emotionally and physically, and to have a bond with their parents and a bond with their brother, Owen. The planning for eventual separation began in earnest, and this involved a series of imaging studies that are very, very detailed and very, very specialized, require special equipment and people to really be able to interpret them. It also required nearly every test to be sedated for or have general anesthetic. And so at that point, the lead anesthesiologist was named, and that was Dr. Phil Bailey. And he carried the girls through on every single step of the way, leading teams of sometimes 2 anesthesiologists, sometimes 6 anesthesiologists, depending on the task at hand. Also, shortly after that time in June, the family met Dr. David Lowe, who is a plastic surgeon who has a lot of experience in conjoined twins and what we call the closer. So he makes the wounds look pretty. Dr. Lowe placed tissue expanders so that we could begin the important process of having enough skin to cover both girls. During this time, the girls moved from our intensive care unit up to the 4th floor, where they could actually have more of a life, in a room that was private and a cast of characters that helped them see it through each day. So that included occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy, social work, child life. Again, it's a huge team. Around this time, the nursing teams in the operating room, 2 of which are here today, were designated, and we began working together to plan out the steps. So Santa makes a list and he checks it twice. These guys make a list and they check it about 10 times, which helps us out a lot. The planning continued. Simulations started, and the actual walkthrough started with actual baby dolls that didn't look nearly as cute as the girls, but helped us out. By late October, Dr. Lowe of plastic surgery felt confident that we had enough skin. And the girls looked great. They looked healthy, and we thought we were ready. We settled on the November 7th separation date, and fortunately, there were really no surprises. In medicine, we like to have no surprises. The imaging and the preparation, the over 40-person team that included my partner, Dr. Alan Flake of general surgery, Dr. Thomas Spray of cardiac surgery, Dr. Lowe of plastic surgery, all world leaders in their fields. Such a privilege to work with them. We had worked together previously, and we worked together in the simulations, and we really were ready. The girls, as Dr. Ashlar said, shared their chest and abdominal walls. They shared the pericardium. They shared a large portion of their liver. The surgery started with deflation of those tissue expanders and removal of those tissue expanders, and then separation of their shared organs. After nearly 7 hours in the OR, this happens all the time. After nearly 7 hours at 3:40 p.m., the girls were completely separated and ready to begin the recovery process. So now we're 6 weeks later, and these past 6 weeks have been remarkable. As I'm sure Shelly and Greg will attest, the girls have actually been in charge every step of the way. And so when they were sick, they were really, really, really sick. And it required the expertise of nearly every specialty in the hospital to get them through. They're now in a much, much better place. Allison, as you'll meet today, is actually the smaller twin, but I'm pretty convinced she's the tougher twin. She was the first to be held by her parents all alone. She was the first to have the breathing tube removed. She was the first to tolerate feeds, and she has been the first to be discharged to home with her parents. Amelia is also tough, but she's a little bit more laid back. She's actually the larger twin, and she has had a more challenging recovery. She remains in the neonatal intensive care unit. She's now on nasal cannula. She's tolerating feeds, and she's participating each day in more and more therapies. And I can think it's safe to say that every day we actually see a lot of progress. So, in closing, the successful separation of Allison and Amelia was possible because of the very brave and resilient Tucker family and the entire CHOP community. It's really a place that's remarkable to work in, and I still can't believe I have the privilege to come here every day. And that's been for, you tell me, 12 years, so I believe it. So over the last 9.5 months, literally hundreds of professionals within this institution have interfaced with the Tucker family, and they are the ones that have made this all possible. It's a privilege to be part of this inspiring community that actually makes extraordinary things happen. So I think we're going to meet the twins. Not yet? Oh.
I think we're going to take a few questions.
Oh. David.
Amelia will be able to go home? Or discharged?
So we're always really hesitant to say a date because we're often wrong. Sometimes never in doubt, but often wrong. So it's hard to know, but she's making a lot of progress, and she's in a much better place this week than she was last week, and it's really hard to say. If I say a date, Shelly will hold me to it. So soon. How about soon?
Dr. When will Allison actually released in relation to the separation?
Allison was discharged to her parents' care on Monday, December 17th.
What was it like for you as a surgeon at that one point where the two girls were actually separated and you could see that they were going to survive this procedure? What was that like?
It's an amazing moment. I think it's probably a little bit like when a baby's born, because suddenly one becomes two. It is an overwhelmingly dramatic moment when the tables spread and the babies go their separate ways. And it's a hard moment too, because before the operation they were happy, they were thriving, they had no problems being with each other, the Tuckers had no problems manipulating them, holding them, doing things with them. So it was a huge responsibility to embark on that, because they did look so good prior to the separation. We started the process, before the babies were born. So back when we met the Tucker family in December of last year, or it might have even been November of last year, we start the process right then, just deciding whether or not it's safe to embark on that path. And the conversation is always two-sided.
Can you describe the work that's going to be ahead of the rehabs and all the things that will need to be done, even when they're home, or even in the coming months?
Well, fortunately, because of the expertise of the child life and the child development teams, the girls are in great places. So they've been developing on a course that's pretty terrific. I mean, you're going to see today. And so our hope is that they'll need some therapies to get them caught up to their peers, but we totally expect them to have full independent lives. And so there'll be therapies over the course of the next several months, but those will be tapered off.
As they grow,
Mm-hmm.
there are more of those therapies that will be, or will you expect?
I think they'll be discharged from therapies eventually. So.
Doctor, what was the toughest part of the surgery?
The toughest part is that you just want to make sure they're both okay, and so the beginning you're starting, and there's big moments where there's more risk, and so as you come across those and you check those off, you become more and more relieved. Actually, the planning, I think, with enough planning, the hope is that there's really not a tough part, and so I think with the Tuckers we were able to do that. There was a lot of planning and a lot of preparation, and a lot of folks who've been through this before working together, and so it makes it more of a it's never routine, but it makes it more of a systematic process that you feel good about every step of the way.
I think she's being characteristically modest. You can imagine the tremendous responsibility that's entailed with taking responsibility, personal responsibility, for a set of conjoined twins. It's really captain of the ship.
Well, as a pediatric surgeon and as a physician, the fact that a family will trust you with the care of their child. As a parent, I know what that feels like. I know what that means, and it is an overwhelming sense of responsibility. And we thank them, and we work together, and we become part of a bigger family that we're gonna want to know what's happening with Allison and Amelia in the next month, the next 2 years, the next 10 years, the next 15 years. We hope to get a wedding invitation.
2.
Actually 2, yes, thank you. So, and the family, you know, the fact that, and I'm sure that you guys will talk about this, but they've moved here, they've uprooted their lives, and they have a 2-year-old son named Owen, and he has stayed right on track, and they've stayed right on track. Shelly actually got her degree last week. She got her bachelor's degree the weekend before Allison was discharged. That's remarkable. So without further ado, we're going to introduce Shelly and Greg Tucker.
Do you want to speak from here or from here?
From here.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So if you have questions for the Tuckers?
Tell us about yourself.
I'm Shelly Tucker, and this is Greg. We found out about the girls on November 14th of last year, and we've been on this journey ever since. It's been a pure roller coaster of emotions, but I wouldn't trade it for anything because we've developed as a couple, as a family, as individuals, and the experiences we've gone through and the people we have met, it's incredible. So, and we are very blessed and thankful to be here and to have our 2 healthy little girls and overcome all of these challenges. That's about it.
Shelley, was there a point in this process where you were faced with that choice of whether to proceed with this pregnancy?
Oh, yeah. The moment we found out, when we found out, we went to my regular OB. We had just moved from Georgia to New York, and he had never seen conjoined twins before, and he asked us to go to see a specialist who, at that point, recommended we terminate. He hadn't had a lot of experience with it and everything. We chose to continue and to get a second opinion. And at that point, we came down here for the second opinion, and we decided that we were going to go forward with it, with the results and everything.
Did you realize how risky it could be?
Oh, yeah.
And what went into that decision for you to proceed?
Both of us have a lot of faith, and I think in this situation, you have to have it. And we just kind of relied on that and figured that we're going to make it through. And we would have a lot of family support around us and community support, and so we went forward with whatever risk that we needed to do.
And now how do you feel?
Relieved. The burden is completely gone, and I am very, very happy.
Shelly, those 7 hours hasn't been unimaginable. I mean, for all of us, it's unimaginable. What was it like for you and for Greg? I mean, 7 hours is already a long time, but knowing that the twins they're going to be
I think it went by so fast. We had our son here to distract us, and as you can all imagine what a 2-year-old can distract. And my parents were here, and I think, I remember looking back at it, and it went by in a blink of an eye. It didn't seem like 7 hours. We expected a lot longer, and so I think that helped us in thinking that it was going to be longer, and for it to be shorter, it was a big surprise. I mean, I think that thought crosses everyone's mind at one point, but for the most part, yes, they were happy and they were thriving, and I knew that they would do well with the separation, and that's why I think both of us were confident in it and going forward with it. We didn't want them to have to go through a life of challenges, because it is challenging to handle them and to deal with them connected, and we didn't want, if they were doing this well and stuff, and we were confident that they could go through the separation. We wanted to give them that opportunity.
Can you tell us a little bit about the girls?
Allison is definitely like she said, the stronger one. She's the feisty one. She's definitely has a temper on her like her brother. And she's kind of loud when she wants to be, when she wants your attention. Amelia is definitely laid back and very easygoing, very serious, hard to get to smile. But when she does, she welcomes you with smiles every time.
How has Owen been throughout this?
Owen's been surprisingly doing really well with everything. I mean, he has gone back and forth between my parents' house in New York and being down here with us. And each time he's adjusted, he loves his sisters. He's very protective. He knows who is who, and we kind of worked with him through the whole having them going through the separation and stuff, and he got it, and there was no doubt that he understood that.
Did you notice anything afterwards, just in terms of Amelia or Allison kind of looking for each other or feeling for each other?
Honestly, I don't. They are at a young age, and I think they're really looking for physical contact because once they're held, they're happy. But you can tell when they get together that they become totally different babies. They are so happy and relieved that they're with their sister. So,
Greg, as a dad, describe how this experience has gone for you.
Well, to start off, I just think it's been amazing that we've gone this far, and to see, as a father, to see him just from the ultrasound starting off back in November to now, 2 separate healthy babies is I ask for much more, and it's been amazing.
So guys, we're going to end the questions for now. We're going to bring out our little girl.
this is Allison.
This is Amelia.
Allison's like 18 pounds, Amelia's pushing over 20.
Oh, there you go.
But Allison. Is Owen eager for Christmas? So will you be here or will you be back?
We'll be here.
Be here.
Well, will you return to New York or are you going to
No, we'll return to New York.
Can you guys put them in the orange next to each other so you have closer to each other?
Spending Christmas here.
We're going to spend Christmas here. This is Owen. Say hi. Say hi. What do you want for Christmas?
Are they trying to crawl at all yet? Or?
Not crawl, but they're trying to like roll over. They definitely want to be mobile.
Do they still kind of hold each other up?
Yeah, they'll hold hands if we put them together sometimes, but like now they're probably just so happy to be their own separate person. They just want to explore everything now. Dr. Isaac,
Yeah, sure. So we'd like to thank you all for being here this morning, and I just have one thing to say. Look at them now. Thank you.
I'm going to move this table. Move this table out.